You stabbed me in the back and sanctioned this.
You know the penalty for sanction.
7 million victims of state-sanctioned genocide.
They'll sanction it. This one fight and one fight only.
We're represented by lawyers who at one time were disbarred or sanctioned.
Participation in a non-sanctioned fraternity.
All arrests that were officially sanctioned.
That's not the sanction term we're using for the
I can get a dogfight sanction here if I needed to. This one was a little tricky.
Ultra was science. Sanction
violating the Insider Traders Sanction Act.
Fucking warnings! 16 dead! You stabbed me in the back and sanctioned this bloodbath to get your war back on.
The plan had... I've got paperwork. Not for the gunships. You know the penalty for sanction busting. Selling the military helicopter is a major violation.
These are the faces of the innocent. The 7 million victims of state-sanctioned genocide. Be scared. Be very...
We're going to bring this up with the Boxing Commission or not?
Yes, and they'll sanction it. This one fight and one fight only. It's not a comeback, right? It's one fight.
43 people, Governor, that you executed were represented by lawyers who at one time were disbarred or sanctioned. There are 2 men on death row right now on this day.
Those of you who are students will be expelled from the university for your participation in a non-sanctioned fraternity. Please take a moment to allow this information to sink in.
Detainees under Article 31 and the suspension of all arrests that were officially sanctioned 3 days ago.
Whoa. That's like wiping your ass.
That's not the sanction term we're using for the symbol, just something we've been kicking around the office.
But Senator Kerry. Hey, John, could you drop your investigation that the president is sanctioned? Because my friend Bob's getting really upset. Reagan wants... Doctor, who saw you? Now, my other brother, he's the boxing commissioner. I can get a dogfight sanction here if I needed to. This one was a little tricky.
Are you saying that I could bring my dog here, too?
Yeah, you know what? That's not what...
Them to Jerry.
MK Ultra was science, sanctioned by the government. But of course it...
Fox, for conspiracy to commit securities fraud and for violating the Insider Traders Sanction Act.
The minute I laid eyes on you, I knew you were no good.
We have an unsanctioned departure from Bay 2.
Alert General Hux and stop that fighter.
Are all that remain of the IMF. And as of this moment, any action is unsanctioned. So if you want out, speak now.
So now you're going to sanction me, so I'm not getting money from you. I'm going to refer you to the decision maker, and they'll make a decision on whether...
Done in my guise as an SS colonel was sanctioned by the OSS as a necessary evil to establish my cover with the Germans.
Your acquisition by this program, as well as the program itself, has been reviewed and sanctioned by military court. You know...
...a foe to England than Ragnar ever was. With or without God's sanction, I tell you as your king, this cannot be.
Ella.
Yes, my dear?
Very much in love and...
I dare say. However, the fact that you personally seem to sanction the marriage...
Oh, no, I didn't mean to give that a...
Bob, I will not sanction this. You don't have to do anything. In fact, I want your word on that. I want your word that you won't do...
...survived when most governments in the developed world introduced legal sanctions to strictly licensed pregnancies. Which was why robots...
The king's former marriage to the Lady Catherine was unlawful, she being his brother's widow and the Pope having no authority to sanction it. Is that what you deny?
๊sæŋk.
I'm afraid the Russians are leading the charge. They're pressing for UN sanctions.
They go to war with us the week that we are renewing their contracts.
You don't need the Russians.
Daughter has been on a journey.
Your ladyship considers travel a crime?
Unsanctioned travel. Furthermore, be aware that my nephew has withdrawn
Permission for me to meet Bastianini. I sanction the theoretical exploration. At what price?
Are you so desperate for their approval that you would sanction this mass suicide?
Those young men went down to Mississippi and...
The United States government has just sanctioned your science fiction movie.
Thank you, sir.
To a divorce court. Oh, the Lord does not sanction divorce.
The Lord is almighty, Mary, and he can sanction anything he likes.
Well, I say the sooner they move out, the better.
They move out.
So you're saying this was CIA sanctioned?
All right, Velma, thanks. I owe you one.
Your question, Reverend. How do you sanction bringing in a little girl? For argument's sake, let's just...
Whatever happens next, I want you to know I did not sanction that cowardly act against your father. Personally, I found their actions damnable and deserving of the...
Friend, I cannot sanction this violence and destruction.
You will dress only in attire specially sanctioned by MIB Special Services.
I do not believe so, no.
Then how can we sanction it?
I did what I had to do. Given the legitimate purpose which you sanctioned, I would have to say...
We'll pay for the oceans of spilt blood you sanctioned, the uncountable corpses. We'll be made to pay with our
Just this one.
Look, I told you I've got cockroaches in your trap. No. There's political refugees under UN sanction.
Name. I'm sorry, but does that mean my release was not officially sanctioned?
Don't be an idiot, Johnson. Of course it wasn't, but you are...
He did not create Jesus' divinity. He simply sanctioned an already widely held idea.
Semantics.
No, it's not semantics. You're
Is that correct? Possession of unsanctioned weapons, forgery of imperial documents, aggravated assault.
Yet every time a new outrage is unleashed into the world, sanctioned and systematic acts of violence, the obedience experiments re-enter the conversation.
Argue the ins and outs of Illinois versus Gates, but you're not going to convince me that our government has not sanctioned the use of anonymous informants. Furthermore, there is no sacred protection.
Been murdering innocent women and children, you sick fuck. You sanctioned the mass murder of an entire village so a pipeline could go through.
One village!
Has been unanimous in condemning the Soviet action and applying economic sanctions, which has not stopped the growing Soviet military presence.
There's a lot more than that to my sister. But our father has refused to sanction the match. Edward is only a second son, and Eleanor...
On this issue, if Congress passes sanctions against South Africa, I will be forced to veto.
We toss her into combat.
I can't sanction putting an untrained civilian in battle just for effect. This is not...
And that you're an international fugitive wanted by the CIA.
Benji.
And that this little unsanctioned operation is tantamount to treason.
Benji.
Because as you stated earlier, I will be back at my desk on...
У тебя есть миссия. Санкционируй, извлекай без свидетелей.